MakingStarWars.net.
Hey everyone, I'm Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and today we're going to talk about some of the Star Wars news. And in case people don't know, Mike is in the chat, and Mike is, I'm pretty sure, Luigi. So don't ask me why it's not Halloween. He just lives his life as Luigi now, and we're going to go with it. So live with that, deal with it. But anyways, today we're going to talk a little bit about how the SAG-AFTRA strike has ended and what it means for Star Wars. Bespin Bulletin wrote an article on it that I'll use as our little map here to discuss what it means. So we are having a little bit of a Star Wars show, surprisingly. Interestingly, that article is being plagiarized, in my opinion. Actually, in my opinion, if this was a college class, this person, this other outlet who's plagiarizing it would literally get a plagiarism strike. They'd be kicked out of school. They'd be put on probation or something. I don't know. It really gets me. Like, I remember with this one, with this kind of thing, he and I would have the conversations, and then he's like, oh well, he started writing me notes, and I was like, thank you. He's very helpful. Bespin Bolton's very helpful, and then eventually he starts doing them as articles, and then you see like this other outlet that now copies it, and just go look at the order of the topics, and there's things in this article that are exclusive to Bespin Bulletin. You, as just a normal person or whatever, would have no reason to know this bit of information on his analysis based off of his source that they also have in their article. And if they were put on the stand and had to explain it, I know they couldn't. And it's just the same shit all the time with those people, man. Like, it so bums me out and burns me out. Like, it's just so lame. It's like you're supposed to love this thing, Star Wars. That's your passion, right? But you have to fucking plagiarize your articles. Like, that's where your passion lies. It's like, at that point, it's really that nothing's going on. You see somebody else making some change off of it, and then you want to go and siphon that change into your pocket because you're a greedy fucking douchebag. Like, that's really what this is at the end of the day. And it drives me fucking crazy. It's not that hard to come up with article ideas. It's not that hard to go, the strike ended and I feel like writing something. How will I do it? You know what? Bespin Bulletin's not your fucking teacher or your mom or your dad. They're not your role model. And if they are, at least cite him in the fucking article that you're stealing. Blows my mind. I was pretty livid about it this morning. I had to delete it. It's like, it's one of those things on Twitter. I was just like, oh, it's just because, it's one of those things where, like, yeah, the only way to win a fight is not to fight when you really get down to it. But what do you do when the people are just pilfering off of the intellectual work that you're doing? What do you do? Because I can tell you, when you do nothing, it never ends. They just keep doing it. They just literally profit off of it for their whole career. And it's pretty wild. Pretty funny though. It's also, if the outlet, they know who they are. If you're wondering why you don't have a source that's worth a fucking damn, it's this right here. I could tell you this morning, me and sources were laughing at you because you're so fucking pathetic. So Bespin Bulletin did a good job on this article, and we're going to use it for our story today. And for the record, Bespin Bulletin made $0.0 last month. So if you do read his site, if you plagiarize off it, especially, you might want to give him a coffee, or you might want to, and if you want to support this show, you could be a channel member, you could be a Patreon supporter, you could support me and Bespin on Patreon. And I think one thing about, as we go forward in the future, when Bespin and I both have, I think, shared Patreon supporters, I think we'll have more incentive to do content, for exclusive content for both. I'm not saying spoilers, but I could probably get that guy to watch some movies and stuff like that. And but right now we don't have like a lot of incentive, but I would like to see that happen down the road. I haven't even talked to him about it, so I might be jumping the gun, but you know what I mean. But here's the article from bestmanbulletin.com. It's only me right now, so I'm going to try not to ignore the chat too much. I will go back to it, I promise, but I'm going to try and get to the article a bit. On November 8th, this is from bestmanbulletin.com. On November 8th, 2023, SAG-AFTRA negotiators approved the latest proposal presented to them by the Hollywood studios, ending the longest actor strike on record at 118 days. This morning I woke up, see the mainstream news covering it, especially around I'm in Los Angeles, so I'm hearing, so it's like on the local news and stuff. And honestly though, number one, yes, the people out there picketing that whole time, they fucking, they worked their asses off. Were walking around out there. I would not take that away from them. They did a good job. But when you read those tweets, oh my God, you would think they were in Vietnam. We fought so hard and valiantly. Oh, with the sweat of the brow of the forefather. You're just like, you need to calm down a little bit. But anyways, Bestman goes on to write, the deal sees protection for actors against artificial intelligence and a notable pay increase. The deal will see most minimums increase by 7%, which is 2% higher than the increase the Writers Guild of America and the Directors Guild of America received. Streaming participation bonuses, as well as an increase in both pension and health contributions. SAG-AFTRA has revealed that the contract is worth more than $1 billion in total. So otherwise, chump change to the industry, and then let all of these people suffer. Never forget that part about this too. The fucking Bob Igers of the world, all of those cats, they went and they were down to let everybody suffer over a paltry $1 billion. To them, it's paltry. In a historic day for actors in the industry, and a day that should have happened much sooner, however, a deal has finally been reached, and actors can go back to making a fair living, and the Hollywood system can begin operating once again. So that brings us to the question that most of my readers and followers are likely asking. What does it mean for Star Wars? Well, I can tell you, Bespin, when you write an article like this and it's called There's a Strike, what does it mean for Star Wars and other outlets doing that? That is also plagiarism as well. Fucking pigs. Fucking pig fucking idiots. All right. So anyways, you could support him on Patreon and Coffee. And hey, how's it going, Rob? How are you?
You can support his plagiarism on Patreon and Coffee.
Yeah. Oh, well, I mean, here's the whole thing: was it Bestman Bulletin who plagiarized? Because somebody definitely stole from somebody today. Who was it? I wonder.
Bestman don't steal from nobody.
I think it's Bestman. I think we should turn on him. I'm thinking we rise up. I think we
right. I think right.
You know what, dude? Right. I think we take a stand right now. Me and you.
We write close to a victory royale, and then we'll take him out and be like, we win.
Yeah. But we are in this. I mean, but like I said, the people plagiarizing him are the same fucking people. I mean, like I won't name him. I don't want to make trouble for him. He doesn't want any fucking problems. But I know how fucking disgusting they are because I've dealt with them for fucking 10 years of this bullshit. And it's so fucking lame, dude. It's just so listen, get your own fucking idea or don't do anything. And if you do say, sometimes every now and then, like, I'll see something and I'll be like, oh yeah, that's a really good idea. What's my spin on it? What do I have to add to it? That's fine, And you could also throw a bone to the person, like I saw this Bestman Bulletin article, and and here's my take. I want to be a part of the conversation. That's being part of a community, an intellectual community. I think it's fair, but to go and then just to like literally lift the fucking idea, put it into the same order, and then also the things that would be exclusive to him and his past reporting, and then to not even do that. Oh, fuck that. You know what I mean? I hate that shit. No respect from me, but also that's also why your sources are dog shit. That's why you go around pretending like you get scoops when you fucking don't. That's why after 10 years, you're having to fake it instead of making it. The second season of Andor began filming in November 22 and was slated to conclude filming in August of this year. However, production was halted due to the SAG-AFTRA strike. Andor continued to film for a couple of weeks after the SAG strike began with non-SAG actors. Scam motherfuckers! But stopped the shoot when they had filmed all that they could without their SAG actors being present, which included much of the top billed cast, including my leading man, Diego, the ball buster, Luna. That's not what they call him, is it?
Ball buster.
Diego the ball buster Luna. I don't think they call him that, do they? Okay.
Just say there's a few ball busters in Andor. I don't think Diego Luna is one of them.
I know he's like the most like fucking chill dude. He's just like, hey, how's it going, everybody?
Even when he's like in a Nazi camp, he's pretty chill. Like,
yeah, he's like, oh no, they're
worked to death, and he was like,
yeah.
What do I do? Like,
so, one way out. Okay.
One way.
It was it was reported that Andor only had 2 weeks left to film before the production was shut down, meaning there's not a whole lot left to shoot. However, it's unknown if the second and final season will need reshoots and pickups on top of what was left for principal photography. So, the series creator, writer, and showrunner Tony Gilroy completed the final version of his script just days before the Writers Guild of America strike started on May 2nd, 2023. And that right there, we know he definitely had his like final, but he would have been changing things all through production still. I don't see how that doesn't change the shape of the picture for better or worse. Anyways, though nothing has been said, it's impossible that Gilroy has made script changes since the WGA strike ended on September 27th and has likely spent time looking over what was shot during this period, which saw production's halt. Yeah, and he might not have liked what he got. He might have liked it all. Might have been worked out. They might have planned for it. Like we know in Southern California, we were talking about the strike well before it was even a Hollywood Reporter article because we knew that they knew, our sources were telling us we're getting ready, you know. So, anyways, though Andor only had 2 weeks left of filming, it's possible that more weeks could be added. At this time, there is no word on when Andor will resume filming. The second and final season was due to release in August of 2024, but as I previously reported, I believe that window was altered with the series releasing later in the year or even early 2025. Oh, geez, it's almost like if you almost copied that sentence verbatim, you'd be plagiarizing. Especially since you shouldn't know that because we know that for fucking reasons that you don't. Fucking plagiarizing. I just hate that shit. Like, just imagine being like, oh God, I always wanted to be a Star Wars writer. I want to be a Star Wars writer, everybody. I'm going to be a Star Wars writer. And then being so fucking lame, you can't do it. You're too fucking stupid. And then you steal it. And then you go, God, I feel like I'm living my dream right now. Like,
I'm a Star Wars writer, Jason.
I'm a Star Wars writer too.
Jason, I'm a Star Wars writer, and John keeps stealing my toothy Sarlacc bit. It's not nice. So he keeps telling everyone, y'all give him a toothy Sarlacc. I'm like, you can't do that, John. I wrote that first. I mean,
but this is the shit that these fucking people do, and it's just like it. I just don't understand it.
I don't get it.
Like, I understand even like the main character syndrome where you think like I'm the main character in life. And therefore, when I do this, like it's so important because I'm a narcissist. Whatever I say, this is really going to be the spin. Fine, but put your fucking spin on it.
Yeah,
you know?
Spinners, Jason.
I mean, don't just, and for the record, just adding the Bad Batch to it when nobody gives a fuck. That doesn't make it not plagiarism.
No,
that doesn't.
Also, Dirty Dancing 2 was my idea. Diego stole it from me. I was gonna do that first, but
you always say that, and I'm always forced to say, did you know that was created as a Natalie Portman vehicle, and then she bounced.
Oh my goodness,
Havana Nights. Portman said no, Havana Nights. That shit's plagiarism. I saw the first Dirty Dancing, and it's just Dirty Dancing 1 plagiarized in Havana. I'm out.
But that was my idea.
So there you go. There you go, Filoni. All right, Mandalorian.
He wants
season.
That's why he struck.
Quattro.
Credit. Sorry.
All right, Mandalorian season Quattro. The
Quattro.
4th season of The Mandalorian was slated to begin production in late September with series creator Jon Favreau touting in the spring that he had already.
Hold on, you just started something. You
Okay.
can't gloss over that one. John Favreau. Right? Like, you know, when they dress Bugs Bunny up in that really racist French outfit where he has a cigarette hanging out of his mouth. Like,
what was Miyamoto saying about the Zelda producer yesterday? Many Hollywood, like it was something like many great Hollywood success. Like it was something silly. But
yeah,
anyway.
he had many great Hollywood success. Plus, you know, the some of them execs somewhere out there in Japan think he created Spider-Man. So what are we gonna do?
You know,
I mean, to be fair, do we know who really created Ultraman, Jason? We don't.
I mean, chances are fucking who created Spider-Man? What's his face? What is this a Spider-Man show?
Steve Ditko.
Stanley.
Primarily Steve. I'm gonna be honest though.
Yeah,
it's primarily Steve Ditko. I'm just gonna let you know. But,
so what you're telling me is that Stanley plagiarized that shit off of another article and came up with Spider-Man.
Well, a little bit different. Stanley was the company man, and since he was the only one on payroll, he took credit.
Okay.
And everyone else is a freelancer. That's kind of that's more of a capitalistic thing, right? What we're talking about is just outright taking someone else's shit and stamping their name on it. So it's a little bit different, but sort of the same. It's parallel.
Yeah.
It's parallel.
I mean, one's a true believer and one's a thief. Okay.
Look,
presumably,
they were either going to let ChatGPT write the article or just steal it directly, and at least they took the time to type it out. Like,
yeah.
I mean, give them some credit, right?
Yeah.
Could have been more lazier.
Pistol P says, who are we talking about? I'm not going to give them the fucking validation, you know, to be honest with you, but simply just go look at the other outlets and look at Bespin Bulletin's article, look at the timestamps. And also just remember the fact that even beyond that, it's a series he started for himself and to help this show at the same time, I'd say. Like, because our conversations were like, oh, we should make this into the articles. Because it's like, what else are you going to do during all of this shit? He did a good job, and he's done a good job with wrapping this up every single time. Now that the directors, what does it mean? Now that the writers can go back to work, what does it mean? And so on. So anyways, so the WGA strike concluded on September 27th, but even with the writer strike over, The Mandalorian did not set a production start date as SAG-AFTRA began striking midway through the WGA strike. Now, with the strike over, you'd assume Lucasfilm and Disney are going to start circling dates on calendars for various productions to start or restart. Deadline mentioned that network series seem to be the current focus to get back into production for major studios, including Disney, when it comes to TV, with many hoping to restart filming in late November or early December. Disney are focusing on their TV efforts on New York series such as Grey's Anatomy 911, Abbott Elementary, and The Old Man.
Just remember when they say there's too much comic book material, they've been making these CISs, 911, Boston Legals, like on a loop for 30 years now, right? Like,
I know, fucking Grey's Anatomy, like,
right.
What the fuck? But I guess it's comfort TV to somebody somewhere, not me.
Right.
Previously, I had exclusively revealed that even pre-strikes, I had heard that The Mandalorian Season 4 was looking to release in 2025. And now on the other side of the strikes, I believe it's still aiming for that year, just later than initially hoped. Due to the planned release window and the studio's focusing on kickstarting production on a network series, I don't think we'll see the fourth season of Mandalorian begin filming until the new year. Agreed. It's also worth mentioning that leading man Pedro Pascal likely won't take part in the filming. Now here's the thing about this. This has been kicked around Twitter since he wrote this article. He's not saying Pedro Pascal is not in The Mandalorian season 4. He's not saying that. He's not saying that we won't see his face. He's not saying that. He's saying it's likely he won't take part in the filming. And so that's not a confirmation. That's not a scoop. That's not a thing. That's simply looking at his schedule, because if you read the follow-up of the sentence, just like season 3, due to his commitments to Ridley Scott's Gladiator 2. And now I would say Gladiator 2, which is due to begin filming over the next few weeks. So in a way, I kind of think Gladiator 2 probably, honestly, is going to be he'll probably be done with it maybe before it would even matter. But then he has to go back to The Last of Us. And then, and whatever
comes up ND thumbs down. I have to be there. Only I
Yeah.
can do it.
No, but I mean,
Nobody else but me. D thumbs up or D thumbs down.
yeah. So like, but also just to like put it into context, like Pedro's never really been there for the filming. And and on those days that we see his face, those are the times when he obviously is there. And they didn't show it last season at all, but I would really say he became a supporting character last season as opposed to the main character. So then, but the next season is going to see Mando going back to his roots of what he was used to, thinking he's going to be able to hunt Imperials on his own and going from there. So I do think there's a good chance we would see his face versus season 3, but nobody knows yet.
Well, can you help me with this? All right, because as I've said before, I am conflicted.
Okay.
On one hand, we have Iron Man movies, and we're like, or superhero movies where they never had their mask on. Everyone's like, just leave the mask on. Why you gotta take the mask off? Right? Like, why are we gonna see their face all the time? I want to see Iron Man's iron face. I don't want to see Robert Downey Jr. all the time. Right? Or I don't want to see Spider-Man. I want to see them with the, why is he always gonna take his mask off? But then when we're on the Mando, and the actor isn't in there, so the helmet's on. We're like, why is he gotta have the helmet on all the time? I want to see the actor. like, you know what I'm saying, Brandon? Like, sorry, Jason. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. Like, is there? Do they feel like they want the authenticity? Because James Earl Jones never once wore a Darth Vader outfit, like his entire life.
What?
I know.
He's still alive. It's not too late.
And although that was a robotic shark, inside the jaw shark was a real shark. They just put a robotic shark outside the real shark. Just to fool
what if we put James Earl Jones inside a robotic shark? Did that ever happen?
Look, this is something that Steve had to talk George off a ledge on once, right? For Jaws 3, right? When George wanted to make Jaws 3, that's exactly what he wanted to do. And they both settled on letting Universal hire Lou Gossett Jr. So Lou Gossett Jr., right, is basically James Earl Jones in a shark suit.
Well, I think Ben asked a good question. Like, he articulates what people either tacitly know or think they know, and so I think this is a nice articulation of a question that probably people think. My question is, why is it such a big deal who was under the helmet? Nobody ever complained about Darth Vader being two separate people. I just don't get it. So the thing I think with this particular instance is we have Pedro Pascal as the Mandalorian. He's one of the most sought after hot actors that's performing right now. When he does take the mask off, we get really good moments. But also, we are to say it doesn't matter. Some scenes it doesn't matter for 100%. So a lot of times it doesn't matter. Most of the scenes it doesn't matter. But if we were going to take like a stuntman in a costume and then pretend like he's going to bring the same performance as Pedro Pascal in a very important moment, I think we have a little bit of are we getting the best version of this? I really don't know. I mean, it's completely
it's weird because
nobody could know. But
I felt that in Boba Fett, he took his helmet off way too much. Like, he's walking around downtown with his helmet in his arm. I'm like, can we just put the helmet on? Like, so
yeah.
What it really comes down to is like two things, right? I feel one, they've switched the protagonist of the show to someone else and pulled a little bit of this is a real bait and switch. They're like, no, it's really about any Mandalorian. That's not the case. Like,
yeah.
Otherwise, they would have had multiple Mandalorians in the first season and blah blah. I mean, they were, but I mean main characters. I don't mean like people standing in the background while Din does his thing. So it's ridiculous. And it was called The Mandalorian. The implies one. Like that. I mean,
well, no, it doesn't.
Mandalorian
it's
is not plural. It's Mandalorians is the plural.
No. It could be the Mandalorian. It can go that way too. Okay. It can. I mean, but
then just admit you're changing it in the show, and then if people reject it, cancel the show. Like, it's just that simple. But don't play this game of like, hey, everyone wanted to see this character. No, that's not you. Look, the average people. How do I say this, man? Like, the average audience out there. If I say I got a movie called, remember when Batman Returns came out and Batman was in it for like 19 minutes, right? Like, if you actually clock it, it's under 20 minutes total Batman time on like a 2-hour movie.
That little?
Yeah. It really is. And so like
yeah, I that was the first time I
Batman
realized
movie-
I hated when they add multiple villains into a thing because I don't feel like anybody gets the actual like character work that they need.
And so
I don't
people
like
felt
it.
that was a bait and switch for a monster movie featuring
Mhm.
Catwoman and Penguin that had a Batman in it. It's
Yeah.
legit. Look, I like the film. I don't love it as much as the first film.
People weren't saying that back then, though.
They were
That
saying
wasn't.
that.
No, they weren't. That became discourse over
it.
time. Maybe your weird uncle said it, but
My weird ankles, uncles
like now
Starlight.
I hear like based off of people looking at old evidence, like, oh, parents were outraged over it, and it was like, no,
I'm
they
not
weren't.
talking. That's a separate
I know.
conversation.
I know. No, I'm
You
saying
know the McDonald's bit. No kid
yeah.
cared. And no parent was
Like
going ban
no
McDonald's with
parents
Batman.
cared. Parents were letting us walk to school with murderers down on the street.
But
They
there was
didn't give a
very
shit.
little Batman in the movie.
Yeah, no,
So-
you're not wrong though. You're not wrong. I'm not saying
So
that.
like
But
that
but
was
here's
really
here's
like,
what
that was
with
really a
what you're
legitimate
saying, Rob.
complaint,
Yeah,
you know?
but so here's the thing though, is can you start a show off with one man and he's just the Native American? And then as it goes on, he finds his lost Native Americans and it's called The Native American. And then it's about other ones. Yes, you can do it. But the difference is that when the narrative is so muddy and unclear, people don't know what's going on and they're just
because they're not being
lost.
honest with it. From a narrative standpoint, they're not being honest with that.
It's because he doesn't know what he's doing. He has these story ideas that he wants to do, and he has these great moments he thinks of for Bo-Katan, and he has these great moments or ideas for like the Mandalorian. Then he's like, okay, we're just going to watch Mandalorian. Din is just going to see all of this, like it's going to observe all of this, but it doesn't feel like that.
This is something where like, look,
but that's
again,
but that's where the performance matters. That's where Pedro being on set, Pedro's the guy who's going to go, whoa, you're losing my character here. We're losing the thread. And when and no offense to like Brendan Wayne and the other performers who bring Mando to life, but in that instance, that might be where we would rather have Pedro on that day. Like on the day when they might kiss. Well, they can't kiss if Pedro's not there. They can kiss if Pedro is there. So if that became
clink helmets,
yeah, but no, but if that became the right way to go, so that's where it's like, yes, on one hand, it doesn't matter that Pedro's not there, but it can matter that he's not there, and like so, like, and then like, I think it's fair for the fans of Pedro Pascal and Din to want the moments of intimacy where his face is revealed because
they could have just retitled the show Mandalore. You know what I mean?
But you're just hung up on the title, and I'm telling you, it doesn't matter though, because if they go,
people the average public considers him, Dinger, to Pedro Pascal to be the Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that's like saying, "Hey, we got another Grogu, but he ain't a Grogu. We'll call him."
Yeah,
but
they also call it the fucking Baby Yoda show. So who fucking cares about that? As far as that goes, well, I mean. The thing is it lacks finesse. Season 3 lacked finesse, and so what you're saying is true of season 3 of The Mandalorian. I'm just saying it doesn't have to be true. It is, but it doesn't have to be. It didn't have to be that way. Could the Mandalorian? I mean, I always said like the show was going to be about the restoration of Mandalore. There was always going to be more about this one man picking up more and it growing down from the very first like episodes where a secret like I don't remember what they call it, coven, I don't remember what they called themselves, their little cult, little secret cult, and then like it was always going to go this way, and then going that way in a TV series you were always going to end up picking up more people, like 100%. Like it was, and on a TV series that lasts multiple seasons, you end up getting episodes where the protagonist isn't the protagonist. But on that last one, I do think that Pedro being unavailable did end up making those scripts have a focus that was slightly not in the right place. Because
if we had a show called The Corellian, right, featuring Harrison Ford as Han Solo back in 1985, 86 instead of the Endor movie, right? And it takes off, and then it becomes about another Corellian because Harrison Ford's busy making The Working Girl and The Fugitive. People would have rejected that too. It's not anything new. This is just it's you got a star he's outgrown your show. You need to end the show.
Yeah.
Or take the hits. And just be honest with your audience and say, man, we got to change it. Pedro's a big dude. You know what I mean? And we completed this story. We're going to do a new story. But that's a big problem where they reunite Grogu and then you tell them the story ends. It's like, maybe that wasn't the way to do it. Maybe leave Grogu out there with Luke, you know, like, so it moves to a different storyline, you know, like, because then you reunite them and you're like, no more adventures with these two, you know, just behind the helmet. Like,
once they realized that they weren't going to have Pedro, that's really when those scripts did need to be sort of revised. You know what I mean? That is when it would have been fine. Instead, though, we just had we got muddy writing, unfocused muddy writing.
I'm just saying it, Jason, because I think we need to have a place to have a responsible conversation about this that doesn't involve Disney evil, they hate us, boycott Star Wars.
I got one for you. This guy, please stop making these shit movies and ruining my childhood memories. Star Wars died after Empire. Please let it rip. Boycott this shit and stop being such losers. Well,
that was 2 T's. I'm not gonna be a grammar Nazi, you know.
I mean, if you want to be, you can.
Maint is a word, though. I'm certain of it. It rhymes with taint, so it's real. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what's worse though. If it died after Empire, and here you are, like a 10, 8, 11 movies over, still bitching about it. You need to learn how to let it go, Frozen.
Jedi more than my uncle, and he still bought all the fucking toys, bro. Do you understand? Like, I had to learn the hypocrisy of like, I hate it, but the Powers of the Force toys are on sale. Like, hey, he's 5 for 1. Like you gotta go do it.
Yeah.
Had to watch the Ewok movie, went to the Star Tours premiere, like the whole bit, you know, like gotta. So, you know, but this guy M talked me out of it.
You know what? This will be our last show.
No, I knew he was gonna drop the R word, Jason. I just knew it. You know, I just knew he was going to drop it after the childhood memories thing. I was like, oh, here we go.
Yeah. Well, the truth is that your childhood was shit. Your parents didn't really love each other. All of your friends have gone on and died or gone on to have better lives than you. And now you're on my show being a fucking bitch about your time. Go spend your life how you want to, buddy. You can do whatever you want.
Would say a twat, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, I call him a cunt. You're a cunt. Just go stop being like you're kind of I mean, like the way that you're going is 2 ways. Either you're a fucking pathetic loser who can't move on, or you're a fucking bully. And either way, you can eat my ass. See you later.
Eat my ass.
Eat my ass. You're blocked. You're banned, bitch. All right.
He's just mad because every time he got the big toe, it never had the bubble gum. You know, someone just took that shit.
Yeah.
I just want to have that conversation responsibly because I think it's a valid point. You know what I mean? It doesn't spark the end of Star Wars. I still believe, Jason, and I've said this since the first day I came on the show, the best Star Wars is still in front of us. I still believe it. Yeah. You know, like it's just
that's the magic of Star Wars, is the possibility.
Yeah, and then Andor came out on my mask right up there for Rob, you know. So like there's gonna be something out there that's gonna be, you know, just as good as the thing you remember, if not better. Like it's just statistically.
And statistically, Disney will never know when to stop.
Yeah, well, we got that problem.
No, I mean they will never. They'll never like. They're never going to turn off the gravy train tap. You know what I mean?
Right. Yeah.
That gravy's going right in Tiger's mouth. You know, he'll keep going. So the point is though, it's okay to be like, yeah, I read 15 books in this 20-book series, and I like the first 15, and that's what matters to me. And then the last 5, it doesn't mean that your childhood's been R-worded. It doesn't mean that Star Wars is dead. It doesn't mean that like life is over. It just means, oh wow, I like this like stuff a lot, and this I just don't care for. So I'm just gonna pay attention to the stuff I like. I don't know what's so hard about being a grown-up on that front.
It means the courtship of Princess Leia has a pretty cover, but that's it. You know, like
yeah, fuck you, Drew Struzan's kind of like the little like I don't know, man. I think he kind of like, I feel like he was like, hey, come here, and then like I walked over a pit full of fucking spikes, you know.
They knew how to trick us good with them.
I'm a little mixed on Struzan for that reason. I feel like he tricked me a lot.
Not his fault.
Oh, it is his fault. It's all Susan.
I'll always blame the artist, right? Not the writer, publisher, editor, licensing departments, you know.
Yeah.
Crown Books.
I mean, maybe if they had just figured out plagiarism, the books would have been better, you know. Star Wars.
Maybe.
We all force float down here. Like, okay, cool. I'll read that.
Star Wars Toothy Sarlacc has a brilliant cover, though. You know.
All right, so Skeleton Crew and the Acolyte. I've lumped these two series together. Oh my god, dude! I haven't like figured out the new Windows yet because I haven't used Windows in a long time. And every 5 minutes, it's like showing me like a prompt about some bullshit I don't care about. I gotta fix that. Okay,
is it Steve Ballmer?
No, it's like it's like
it's on your computer.
Nah, it's like somebody on Facebook fucking shit their pants. Do you want to see it? I'm like, no, I don't. I just want to read this article. Like on my Mac, I had like a sleep button, and I'm guessing this has a sleep button somewhere. I don't know. I don't know where it is on here. I gotta find it. Anyways, I've lumped these two series together as both series have wrapped productions ahead of the SAG-AFTRA strike. Skeleton Crew wrapped filming in January of this year, and The Acolyte in May. Well, I heard that they didn't film it, that they owed the back taxes, and then they couldn't film the show, and then the show isn't going to come out, and it's all a trick. They just filmed a trailer for the Star Wars Celebration. Confirm or deny? Rob, go.
Celebrate good times. Come on.
Oh, great. Now the show's demonetized, you asshole.
Oh shit.
The former was originally slated for release this year.
That's plagiarizing.
With myself reporting that the series was looking to release in late November or early December, which was later confirmed by a star of this series. He means Purple Urkel. However, months later, I exclusively reported that the series had been delayed to 2024 due to the strike. At this time, I still don't know a concrete release window for Skeleton Crew. At the time I reported on the delays, sources simply just pointed to 2024 with an unknown window, as many things were up in the air for various releases. Though one mentioned that it could release an entire year after its planned release. And I am going to say, like, I'm just being a betting man right now. This isn't like a scoop, but off of just conversations I've had, I think it's going to be after Acolyte. I don't want that. I would love for it to come out in early in the year, but what I know about certain purchases and things like that in the industry, it does not sound like they are looking to promote it in early 2024. And with mid 2024 being the Acolyte's like window, being the core of the year, it being the flagship show of Disney Plus, I think it's very likely that we don't get it until the end of the year. So currently I don't have much clarity. One source mentioned spring as a possibility, which okay, that'd be nice, but another later in the year. But one thing they both had in common was a general release was extremely unlikely. Which has been a rumor. Marketing plans for the series need to be put in place, and January seems far too short of a turnaround, if you ask me. And just to put it into context, like, could it happen if Disney, all of Disney's power, will, and might decided they wanted to? Yes. KM22 says, Jason, Windows has any notifications and actions under system settings. Thank you. I do. I'm still like tuning the computer up because it's brought to you by Tom. You know. Anyways, lately I don't have much of a clarity. He goes on to say that marketing plans for the series need to be put in place in January. Seems far too short of a turnaround, if you ask me. And that's I agree with that 100%. And I would say that, like, if Disney wants it to happen, they could literally make anything happen. Like, in the sense that it like the bus ads and the billboards and stuff. Disney owns those, like, the rents those outright for anything. So, like, let's just pretend like Tron 9 was going to come out, and they're like, okay, we're going to delay Tron 9.
Like Leonard Part 6. They just make Tron 9.
Yeah, Tron 9. And then they go, and then they could just do that. Like they could do something like that. But if they were to, it would be a fucked up release. It'd be all fucking all over the place. It wouldn't be like that. It wouldn't be that clear. I don't think they are going to do that. I don't think that they would do that. So we'll have to see how it goes. But I'm unfortunately very pessimistic about it. I think Acolyte's going to be first. The Acolyte, I previously reported, was due to release in the second quarter of 2024, with my hearing at the time being a May release. In the months that followed, I shared that the Acolyte could suffer a slight delay due to the changing schedules following the SAG-AFTRA strike. It's possible the Acolyte could keep its second quarter release, but it's unlikely to me. But I could see it release in August. The August window is merely my own speculation. Oh, really? I wonder who else might have said that today. I wonder who might have taken your own informed speculation and maybe said the same thing. But given that Lucasfilm and Disney's track record with that month, Andor's season 1 was first announced for August 2022. Ahsoka's released in August 2023 on my birthday. Andor season 2 was planned for August 2024. I could see an August release window being on the cards. So that would make a lot of sense. And once again, I mean, we could see Acolyte come earlier in the year, and we could see that what do you call it, take August, on that back end of things. So okay, this one's funny. Ahsoka season 2. The second season of Ahsoka has yet to be greenlit. The last we heard was that Lucasfilm were still having discussions about the possibility of a second season of Ahsoka coming to fruition from a deadline report following the season finale. It was not planned on including Ahsoka I was not planning on including Ahsoka, in this list, but I am due to the narrative I've seen being pushed since I started writing this article. I've seen social media users claim or push the idea that a second season of Ahsoka was unable to be announced due to the SAG-AFTRA strike. This is more than likely not the case. He's just being fucking nice. He's just being is a little English boy. He doesn't know any better. He's got to be nice and polite all the time. That's fucking bullshit. That's what he's saying there. That's like the Welsh version of that's fucking bullshit. Various studios have announced a new season of various TV shows. Whilst, see, he's a little fancy lad. That's why we're the Lambo lads, by the way. The shows, while SAG has been striking, including Disney, who renewed and announced the third season of The Bear just mere days ago when SAG were still striking. I personally believe a second season of Ahsoka will be greenlit and announced in due time, though it's unlikely to film until much later in 2024 if the series is greenlit for a second outing. And that's the other side of this, is that Ahsoka's not happening parallel or before Mando 4, unless Mando 4 gets pushed way back. Okay, that's the caveat. But right now they are focused on Mando, and I've heard this now from so many sources. Mando's the focus. Who fucking knows? You know what I mean? But everybody's got to do their little fan math and then go, oh, I want to come out and pretend like I'm a big old scooper. Everybody's going to think I really got the inside track on things, and maybe I'll get respect. Nah, nobody respects content creators. What are you doing? Untitled Rey Skywalker Jedi Order movie. The first Star Wars film to be released since 2019 Star Wars Rise of Skywalker is believed to be the untitled film being written by Stephen Knight and directed by Sharmeen Obaid-Chinoy, which would see Daisy Ridley return as Rey Skywalker, who will be in the process of constructing a new Jedi Order. Said film is believed to be the untitled Star Wars flick currently locked in for a May 2026 release. In April, Lucasfilm president Kathleen Kennedy revealed that Stephen Knight was expected to submit a draft of his script in mid-May. Knight stepped onto the Rey Skywalker film shortly after the departure of the film's original writers, Damon Lindelof and Justin Britt Gibson, sometime in the February or March of this year. However, Knight was unlikely to have turned in his draft mid-May, as the Writers Guild of America, which Knight is a part of, began striking 2 weeks before his draft was due to be submitted. And most likely they fucking were well aware of that. And because I don't see why you would put a deadline like after the strike if it could have happened then and you were afraid of it. So I personally believe that there was never any a real passion behind him getting that draft submitted on time, if that makes sense. Makes sense to you, Rob?
Yeah.
Okay, making sure you're still there. At this time, it was reported
by reliable. Read. You always say I cut you off.
Hey, I don't say you cut me off, Rob. You do. At the time, it was reported by reliable insider.
Hold on, we want to talk about it.
Journalist, the Insnider. The Insnider. I said the Insnider.
You want to talk about the Marvels?
No.
Snyder.
If I were Jeff Snyder, I'd make everything the Insnider. I think that's just too good. Anyways, that the Rey film was looking to begin casting by around Labor Day of this year. so by September 4th, and was looking to begin filming in April of next year. However, due to the WGA strike, Knight was unable to restart work on his draft until the end of September, and SAG-AFTRA began striking in July, meaning the casting process could not begin. The writers returned to work, and by the way, that right there, all of the, I mean, I think even Snyder's made jokes about this. All of the agents are still working on behalf of the actors and still signing intent deals and stuff like that. Everything's just ready to go. The writers returned to work on September 27th, but it's unknown if Knight has since submitted his draft at this time. And I honestly don't think it's very likely that we would know, that anybody would actually know, and until it hits a new production milestone, and then we hear that that's what's happened behind the scenes, then we could deduce that's what happened, you know. As mentioned, Knight only had 2 weeks left to submit his draft when the WJ strike began striking. It's more than possible that Knight has now submitted a draft, given that the strike ended 6 weeks ago. If not, it's more than possible that he will before the year's end. Unrelated, but Taika Waititi is also due to submit a new draft of his Star Wars script by year's end. Once Lucasfilm and Disney get a clearer idea of where they are in the writing and development process, which will become more clear with a Knight draft, they will then begin the process of locking in actors, locations, and start dates for the Rey Skywalker film. If we follow the trajectory that the film was on, I expect casting and possibly even filming to begin next year. The next year is going to be incredibly busy for Star Wars, with multiple projects slated to release next year, including a live-action Star Wars series such as Skeleton Crew, The Acolyte, video games in Star Wars Outlaws and Star Wars Hunters, which just got delayed until 2024, as well as animated series including The Bad Batch Season 3, 2024, which will also see multiple projects enter filming, including The Mandalorian Season 4, the untitled Rey Skywalker movie, and maybe even Ahsoka Season 2. Oh, what about Star Wars Visions? What about Star Wars Visions? What about Star Wars Visions? No, I'm just doing that.
Excited with that one.
No, I'm being the guy who finds like the one thing that a very in-depth and complete article doesn't do, and then it's like, well, you didn't do that, so you're fucking dumb, bro, and your work fucking sucks, dude. Hey, Chris Breezy, wake the fuck up. Chris Breezy says, I'm going to bed. Good night. No. You're going to stay up and finish the show.
He doesn't like it when you just read.
Who do you think you are?
He likes it when I chime in and cut you off. That's what's he like. He likes that. He misses that whole back and forth. That ruins the show.
Yeah, again, it says, what's the plan for Bad Batch Season 3 now that promotions can
Dude, we're
can
not
restart?
even 24 hours from the strike ending, and everyone's like, when can we go? Like, this whole here's the thing, Jason. I want to bring up, here's another hypocrisy fans have. All I've been hearing for the last couple years specifically is we all need a break from superhero movies and from Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
We just need a break. And the second the strike's over, when are we getting more stuff? When's it coming out? Who's going to production? When's it promoting it?
Yeah. Well, remember, the people who are saying we need a break aren't the consumers of it. They're just the people that want to have a hot take on Twitter. Like for instance, our buddy Gannon here wants to know when Bad Batch is coming. I don't think Gannon's the one who's saying, oh, I need a break. I don't think people who want to watch the Bad Batch are saying it. I think it's just more of people who are too lazy to read books, but get their pretension via film. Does that seem like accurate to you? That's what I kind of think it is. But
in some cases, yes, and some no. I think there are people who watch the Marvel movies who also simultaneously say we need a break while forgetting there was a break during COVID about an entire year where you had nothing.
Yeah.
And then also simultaneously clamoring that we need to know how they're going to immediately fix all their problems, even though we want a break, but to fix everything. And when are we getting X-Men films?
Right.
And it does bleed into Star Wars, but I'm gonna be honest with you. This is the only place I listen to with Star Wars. Sometimes Santa, and sometimes I turn on Meg's show when I think she's got something weird. I look at that. I judge Meg's headlines, and I'm like, did we already talk about this? And then I gamble. I gamble if I want to hear a more eloquent version of our conversation, but we generally talk about things for 2 hours.
Succinct.
Yeah, she gets right to the point. Like I'm impressed. But that all being said, what about Droid?
Yeah, what about Droid Story?
I told you it's never coming out.
Yeah, I right now, this isn't a scoop. whenever I have the opportunity to talk about things, it's not something that's like a priority of all the things that could delve into, but I am kind of getting more curious about it. But I think when ILMX Labs reformed as a company and took a different direction, got its new name and everything, it's kind of thinking that maybe a droid story was lost in that. But also, you know, they're moving towards AR, augmented reality, quite heavily, and maybe they're gonna make a game, you know, down the road where we have like droid pets in augmented reality or something like that. Maybe it will become something other than what it was initially slated to become, and maybe it will have a little story to it. I don't know though. I wouldn't be surprised if that's what ends up happening, you know. But I don't know, man. But yeah, I mean, when it comes to like the whole like break thing, like in terms of like the market, they can overdo it. They can put out too much, but at the same time, it's like
I love this topic.
it's the same.
I love
It's
I love this point.
well, no, like here's what I'm trying to like answer your point from before on it. Like and
Okay.
like Bespin went through, and he was like, he told me a good point. He's like, I don't think that superhero fatigue is real. But then he went through and he named the movies of the last like year, like Morbius and the fucking Flash and like all of these like movies that did not connect with audiences. And when you start to go down to it, like if I'm just randomly going to the movies with like a date, and then I took her to see Morbius, the next time I'm on a date, I might skip the superhero film because it's been such a track
Morbius.
record. You know what I'm saying? I mean, what?
I took a date
Sometimes
to
they
the
want to go.
Daredevil movie in 2003. That didn't go over very well.
I took a date to the first X-Men movie, to the when that one came out. And then and it was such a bad date because she brought her she brought her friend.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I believe comic book movies have been and probably always will be in the same position that the comic book the comic books are right now, like the actual comic books, where people are looking for big Marvel storylines and Batman comics. And everything else is a smattering of what does and doesn't stick. Like The Boys is working, right, to an extent. Maybe that won't forever, but right now it is. And indie comics like The Walking Dead will work, you know, for a while, and then it'll be like Saga was there for a little bit. These little pop-offs. But there is not going to be an Avi Arad cinematic universe movie sans Spider-Man that's going to rivet the fucking world. You know what I mean? In the way that the Avengers
just
Endgame
wait when we see
series
Legend of Zelda Chapter 10.
Yeah, there's never going to be a series of Superman movies that blow the fucking gates open. Like it could do well. And that's really what we're talking about. Like doing well, having good adventure, genre-based adventure films. It's what I put. They're in the same category as movies as Indiana Jones and Goonies and all those Spielberg Lucasfilm, you know, Willow, where it's just a little bit more coherent, a shared universe, right? Or a consistent through line that you can sort of follow. The question I have though is Star Wars and Marvel being under the same parent company and having sort of a similar rabid fan base for its content is what is the number, like statistically speaking, like that they can produce quality stuff at and everyone doesn't feel like it's too much? Because like if they were like doing 3 movies a year before Disney Plus, right? Hold on, let me finish. They were doing 3 movies a year before Disney Plus, and then they add these shows, and that's too much. Is adding any show too much? Should they just have one show? Should they just have a show called Young Avengers, and that can have a rotating cast of new characters that they want to introduce, and that's one show that you'd follow on Disney Plus. But then that doesn't get you the Disney Plus subscribers if there's only one show, right? You like.
But here's the whole thing: is it's a Disney Plus argument and point and a film point aren't the same thing. Because me going like right now, like I have Disney Plus with that Hulu package for my family. Everybody watches it. Okay. Everybody loves it. But when I go to the movies, I'm usually like right now, if I was to go to the movies to take the kids to the movie and like a girlfriend or something, I'm fucking 4 tickets in, or a family, a nuclear family. You're 4 fucking tickets in. So the truth is that when you get down to it, most families I think are going to go like once maybe every quarter. So if you get too many movies in a quarter, then I think the industry is going to suffer, because at that point, if I have to see it, I might be like, oh, I'm going to go without the kids. You know what I mean? I'm just going to go catch this one with my buddy or something like that, and not take everybody. But when that happens, they're not getting the 4 tickets from me. They're just getting the 1.
There's a real, and I don't have numbers here. Obviously, no one's done
it.
But like,
me either.
There's a real probability that a lot of people just saw Mario and Barbie and Oppenheimer this year. You know what I mean? And like, that's it. They're tapped out at around 3. At around 3 to 4 movies, maybe 4. You know, like
yeah.
But the reality is, and so that's the thing. Like those 3 movies from that kind of audience used to probably 2 of them probably went to Marvel films, right? Like before pandemic, and now maybe they're going to 1 if they feature characters that they know and trust, and if they don't know and trust, they're just waiting for, if I ever see it, I'll see it on Disney Plus. I'll go do something else. And so like that same thing has happened, not so much to Star Wars because there's no movies, right? But like it can, if you have this many Star Wars shows and movies going on simultaneously, they can't match the quality of that content. I mean, there's just not enough. There's too many. How do I say this? There's this weird thing with art where you have to have a certain amount of eyeballs keeping the quality in check, but at the same time, like one person approving something can only like work for so long before you have to rotate out. Like no one coach can coach a sports team for 30 years. You know what I mean? Like it's not quite the same. So you have to bring out new, and then but then you have to bring in more new people the more projects you do, right? Like it's just weird. You know, like there isn't a specific number, but there is a weird alchemy or formulation for the amount of content per people, blah, 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 blah. And quality does factor. But even if everything was brilliant, Jason, not everyone would still be able to watch all of it. There just aren't enough hours in the day. You know,
and then the other problem with it is that with the sequel itis era that we live in, and the IP itis era that we live in, everything is serialized. Therefore, you need to continue like watching them, and you can't miss too many. And at a point when you do miss too many, you just say, fuck it, I'm just going to move on with my life, and you're going to drop out. Now, movieguide.org, I don't know how credible it is, but they say the movie industry sold 1.24 billion tickets in 2017. I decided to go pre-pandemic on the numbers because the post-pandemic numbers are kind of weird. Meaning that about 23.8 million people went to the movies each week in the US and Canada, which was actually a drop, but 1.2, so 23 million people. So when things are really swinging, you know, not at max, but 23 million people. That means 23 million tickets are on the table per year. So it's quite a bit.
Rick Jones bring up Spider-Verse, but Mutant Mayhem, man. Hey, that movie made 180 million worldwide, 118 domestic. That's less than the Michael Bay Turtle movies. They're well received, but financially they did less money than the Michael Bay films, you know, and nowhere near the money that Elemental made, which people consider to be a financial failure. So you could say, but they only spent 70 million on it. And I'm like, still 70 times 3 is not 180 million. You know, you're still short of the number you need to be profitable on that. So the toys made up the difference. That's where I always say, if you have something that sells toys, you make up that diff in the toy department, which is probably where Marvel and Star Wars take the biggest hit right now. Is who's running out to buy toys for Quantumania, right? Nobody. So I don't have those numbers, but I do walk by the aisles, you know, and I saw that stuff stocked up. You know, and the turtle stuff were
and by the same measure, a movie could come out, not be cared, and the toy could still sell because it's fun. You know what I mean? It's like it's all weird, it's all strange.
Todd McFarlane put all the toys he does. Once he put out a shark thing, it was like a remote control shark, highest selling toy ever sold.
Really?
Like, yeah, and it's like, well, if he used that as the litmus test, then he would never do DC toys or anything else. He'd just do remote control shark. But that's not how business works, right? Like, it's that's the way it goes.
Yeah. So Aria says Balin can now be recast, and
the doors have opened, right?
Yeah.
Behind it, all the bearded men in Hollywood stand for it.
I mean, yeah, she's not wrong. I mean, he could be recast now. but I still think until you have Ahsoka 2 written, ready to go, or something else written in that time that needs to have that character, I don't think it's like really like super important. Like, I mean, realistically, they could go on to season 2 and not bring him back. He could just be in that hand doing something. You know, I mean, I hope they don't, but that could happen. It's possible. Also, like Taika's wife, we were talking about this morning, you know, Rita Ora. He says he's going to be putting her in his movies. Chance Rita Ora is going to be either a bit part or a big part in that next Star Wars movie. You know, I think it's a little more complicated to get like a main character chosen, for instance. So I don't know if I would go that far with it, but that's something that we'll likely see happen. But yeah, Baylan, yeah, I don't think there's. Well, I'll say this much: just don't do what you did with Carrie Fisher in episode 9. Don't do that. You know, just don't do that. That didn't. That was. It was. I don't blame anybody for trying it. I think it was like, what do we do? They tried, and it was it's unprecedented in a way.
It's the least of my problems with that film, though, Jason.
Yeah, I know.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
like, yeah. It's annoying, but it's not. It's nowhere near my top 5 problems with that film.
Yeah.
And I hate to be the bearer of this news, but it turns out Meg 2: The Trench did $395 million.
Meg 2: The Trench did more than Indiana Jones. That's the world we live in.
God damn it.
You know, I'm just gonna blame it on the whippersnappers being fucking stupid. But
to be fair, it made most of it overseas, so you know
the world is
Europe.
stupid.
Yeah.
What? Fuck
What's
you,
up,
Europe.
Is it true? It's up.
What you? Yeah, you answered you, Michael Bay, loving motherfucker.
It's not Michael Bay.
No, he loves Michael Bay. He loves Michael Bay, and I'm saying
yeah,
like that's what kicked the door open for the fucking Meg to come make 2 to make that much money. It's a bunch of there's no way that wasn't like Michael Bay fans going like, "Where's Michael Bay's movie?" Well, we got the Meg 2. I won't lie though, the Meg 2 does delight me when I see the ads for it because it's so fucking stupid.
I mean, Five Nights at Freddy just made more money than Turtles. It's at 220. It's been out a week.
Yeah.
So and Turtles is a better movie, you know, by far. Like, let's not even.
Five Nights at Freddy's is not a good movie.
You know,
kids loved it though, so it's like that's one of those things where I just have to go. You know what? It's not for me. You know what I mean?
Had they just got an actual like scarier, like if they got one of those Andrew Stanton directed episodes of Stranger Things, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. He probably would have been a better ex-Pixar guy, did some Stranger Things. He would have been the best person for that role, I think. Andrew Stanton's like, don't sign me up for that shit, Rob. Like, it's too bad I picked you, sucker.
Hey.
You know, he made that what was that movie about the Confederate soldier everyone likes? That John Carter. He's a Confederate soldier, bro.
Yeah,
he's our fucking no. It's
ridiculous. Yeah, couldn't we just not make him? Can he just not be a Confederate soldier? And on the other side, like, wouldn't that be okay? You know, if he was, since it's made up history, can we put him on the right side of real history instead? Maybe.
I know.
Is it? I mean, I'm being very serious. I don't remember the movie super well. It's been years. Like, is there an actual reason why he must be a Confederate soldier?
No, it could have been set in the 30s, and he could have been.
Oh, okay, but let's just say it can't be. Let's just say, is there a reason he has to be on the bad guy side?
No, he could have just been a rancher. You know what I mean? He could have been.
Yeah. Why couldn't he just been from the North?
Yeah, could have been a guy who fought in the Civil War and has PTSD. You know, it doesn't have to be. You know, could have been on the North. I know.
I mean, I'm just gonna say it though. Fucking General Lee. I don't know if people know this, but he licks up cum off bathroom floors. That's what I heard about him. That's what I heard his kink was. He's a big old.
Also, what powers the General Lee?
And just so you guys know, like the statues, they all get together in secret. They all come on the General Lee statue, and then they all like lick it clean. So like that's why they want the General Lee statue to exist, because that's what they're into. It's a big General Lee cum pop, basically. So sorry to bring real news to the show, but that's what's happening in the world. Even Criterion Cascadian says even Criterion put out 2 Michael Bay films. Hey, you know what? The thing about it is, in reality, culture and cultural significance is oftentimes defined by the amount of people who consumed the thing. You know,
Yeah, but
like
if the Rock hadn't been made, you wouldn't have got Metal Gear Solid the way it was. I mean, the Metal Gear Solid theme is the Rock theme. It's not even
you
kidding
know,
ourselves.
I guess.
Directly influenced Metal Gear Solid, you know.
Yeah. But my whole criterion, yeah.
What?
No, I would be okay with oh no, as you heard it, he's all would love to have come on and talked hunters in GTA 6, but been in out of the hospital these past. Oh shit, been
No.
working. So I'm fine, but don't know what's wrong yet. But I'll live. I mean, there's a good chance it's the Michael Bay films. I'm just gonna say, stay away from the Michael Bay films. But yeah, let us keep in touch with us. Let us know how you're doing, dude. You know,
Sorry to hear that, buddy.
because that's yeah. I do. Hopefully, it's just a virus or something. You know,
Maybe a Star Wars live service will save him. No?
yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, I think it will. I think it will. I honestly, I think it might have been Hunter's getting delayed. It might have been like his will to live, like Padme style, might have started to dip. And we don't, booba, booba. I don't know why, but his will to live is leaving him. You know, that might be, as it's true, time marches on. You will be able to play Hunters all the time pretty soon. Don't worry.
Into the future.
No, but seriously, all joking aside, I hope you feel better, bud. Jonesy says, be well, Asatru. Best wishes. Take care. Oh no! Drake Jones says maybe you have superhero fatigue. Oh, no. Rick Jones with the joke of the day.
It's a good one, Rick. It's a good one.
Asatru says GTA fans not trusting our real leaks and hunters worldwide delay made things worse. Yeah. Whenever like news of those things comes out, obviously, dude, open invite on the show. Just tell me I'm available, and and I'll send you the invite. Because GTA, like when that actual stuff does hit for it, you got to come on and talk about it with us because you're very insightful. He's I would say I'm getting the impression that Asatru is a GTA super fan. So I'm all about it. I actually installed GTA last night. Reinstalled it, and I don't know if like everybody had the same idea because of what was happening, but it took fucking forever to install it. Like seriously, it took like 8 hours. Made no sense why it was so slow. All other games on Xbox, I would tell it to install, it would do them really fast, like download fast. GTA, it's fucking crawling all day. So, well, Rob, did we do it? Did we do it, Rob? Did we do it?
Did we do it? No, we did it. I think we covered it.
I think so. As it just says, I can probably correct it tomorrow. So funny, we have some real leaks, and everyone is like, "Sure, clown." Just shows the damage grifters and liars have done. Yeah,
no, adds it true, but that's been my whole life. Like, I'd read an article in Cinefect or in some magazine about I'd read an article in GQ or something that would mention Batman Forever being made by the director of Lost Boys, and and I'd tell my friends about it, and they'd go, "That's not sure, Rob. Oh, it's never gonna happen. Oh, they're never gonna get rid of Michael Keaton." And then like, this is what happened. These people, they're not there to have conversations. As it true, you know what I mean? Like they're just there to be loud. They don't.
yeah. I mean, and I understand, like, though, after all of the years of no news on the next Grand Theft Auto and the grifters and the liars, I can understand why somebody would just be like, yeah, I don't. But what is infuriating to me is when it's actually like somebody with a proven track record. You know what I mean? And stuff.
Yeah,
That's when it's like, okay, you know what? At this point, like, if I say something about Star Wars, for instance, and then they call me a liar, it's like, are you ignorant or do you just really not understand like what's going on? Anyways, KM22 says, correct me if I'm wrong, but the announcement yesterday was GTA gets a trailer in December for a release day to be decided. Yes, I believe that. Yeah, and Asatru says yes. And then I don't remember, was it Asatru or Bespin who suggested that it would be with the Game Awards, or was that just a general thing?
Yeah, well, it was because after they said the December trailer thing, Jeff Keighley had posted at the Game Awards or in 30 days. Like he had made that right after.
Okay.
So it would look, statistically speaking, that's where they're gonna put it. I mean, I've been part of projects that were announced at the Game Awards, so you know what I mean. Like you do the math on your own project, you know, you see what's coming up, and you're like, that's gonna be where they announce it, you know.
Yeah. They put hoverboards into Fortnite right now. It's pretty fun. So on Saturday, if you're able to play, and as it's true, come on when Rob is on, because it would just, you know, if you're feeling okay on Saturday, if you're not busy, come hang out with us. I don't, as the truth says, I don't think it'll be the Game Awards. They're too big for that. They will destroy it.
Yeah, it'll be on the Game Awards, as the truth. Yeah.
Think so? Yeah, I don't know.
Yes.
I could also see them just releasing parallel to it, like in the same, like, you know, little.
They'll have the symphony. They'll bring out Trevor. He'll sing the national anthem.
No, he'll be like, you're like, Grand Theft Auto. It's an erotica asphyxiation.
They should hire.
Squeeze your neck and choke your throat. Now you're gonna be the GOAT, cause Grand Theft Auto 6 is coming to TV. It's gonna be a TV show on Disney Plus. We're gonna take out the cussing, the violence, and the guns. It's coming for you. Grand Theft Auto 6 on Disney Plus.
Directed by Ron Howard. Get it?
Directed by Ron Howard's daughter, with consultation from Ron Howard himself. No?
Yeah, as an expert in Grand Theft Auto.
Yeah. So as a true, you think the game will come out in 2025? Or are you laughing at that? I don't understand sarcasm. I'm face blind. I can't see your face.
I'm inclined to think 2025. I wish they'd take the Nintendo approach and give us like 6 months before, you know.
Yeah.
Thing, but
yeah, and I was saying yesterday, like, everybody has every reason in the world to not believe that the Switch stuff that we're hearing is going to be as good as what we're hearing. I that's another one where I'm like, I do not blame anybody for thinking Nintendo is going to make the most basic bitch, easy, fucking stupid choice they could make that makes nobody happy. And if it's even feels current, won't feel current in 6 months. I totally would, but there's so many signs that Switch 2 might not be dog shit. And I hope Ari Arads keeps his hands off the Switch 2. That's what I'm trying to say.
What do you define as dog shit?
You know, I just mean like an underpowered fucking baby's toy. You know what I mean?
It's not going to be as powerful as a Steam Deck. It's not even going to have an OLED screen.
No, it'll be as
Steam
powerful
Deck has
as
an
Steam
OLED
Deck.
Screen.
But
I tell you, the biggest mistake they're making is no OLED, and if there's no OLED because
I disagree.
Dual screens,
I completely disagree with OLED.
Better than you really are. No,
Rob, you're not wrong. But the fact of the matter is, the people who appreciate the OLED screen are playing on the fucking TV, and the people who aren't are little babies. Adults can't even see the Switch screen. Like, you'd have to have
you're
like
gonna
fucking
have a demo of the system at a Walmart or Best Buy or wherever else you go, and then you're gonna have the OLED version of the Switch sitting right there, and one's gonna look better than the other. I'm just telling you. You're gonna see a noticeable difference in screen quality.
Rob,
and people they have buy phones every year.
You aren't wrong. You once again, you aren't wrong, but you're not hearing me. I don't think the people who would appreciate the OLED screen are playing on the OLED screen. They're playing it docked. That's the whole fucking issue. I think that's why it kind of doesn't make sense. It makes sense to make it cheaper and portable because children are the ones. Like, do you ever see adults playing a Switch?
Yeah, they bought the OLED. I have a guy who bought all three of his kids the OLED Switch.
I'm saying that people who would care about it though would end up playing Zelda on their TV, and they don't play it in the handheld mode. That's the actual consumer's habit. Doesn't line up with it.
Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but a lot of people just play in handheld mode exclusively.
Everybody I know who has a Switch is like, I don't even know why this thing is like this. You know what I mean? Everybody like just plays it on their like TV, or they have a Switch.
When you're on a plane, count the Switches next time.
Yeah, but that's not a real fucking.
But you can't take your PS5 with you on the plane. That's the whole thing.
I know, and I also don't play video games on planes enough that the argument has any merit.
I am not a technophile. Like I'm a guy who believes in take off the shelf parts and make the most out of it. And I'm just
Yeah.
saying, I think when you charge something, you want to give people their noticeable difference for their buck, right?
Mhm.
I'm telling you, the OLED is a noticeable difference. They needed the OLED, and if they're
Rob,
not going
Rob,
to put
Rob,
in the kind
Rob,
of
the OLED,
analog sticks
the
that we
OLED is
used to
better.
have,
The OLED is massively better.
then replaceable analog
That's not the
sticks would be
point though.
the
Is
better bit.
that the people who would buy the OLED are adults and they don't play it fucking like that. They put it on the TV.
Majority of Nintendo is adults and adults buying it for their kids. They
And
get their
and
kids hooked on it.
Switch
Otherwise, people would
lights.
just play iPad games all day. Why would they play a smaller screen when they have a giant iPad?
Look at the cells from the Switch Lite and the OLED system. They are night and day.
Yeah, but the other one's
Because
been out longer, and the OLED came out during
no,
fatigue. When
not
people
even.
wanted Switch 2
We
or
could
Switch
even
Pro, and they got an OLED.
we,
So
we, we
it's
could
not
even, we
like
could even just take a sample size of it and say like,
I don't own
the
a
first 6
Switch
months.
OLED because I refuse to buy an
Mhm.
OLED when I know there's a Switch 2 around. But when there wasn't an
Yeah.
OLED, I'm like, this is dumb. And I figure the only reason for it is because they might be going back to dual screen.
The
That is
reason,
actually the
yeah,
one
it's
thing.
possible, but I
Yeah.
mean I
Which
mean in
is
reality,
dumb
what
too.
they should do is they should sell a set top fucking console version because I am never going to play the fucking Switch on an airplane. I don't ride the bus. If
I'm
I'm
with you.
outside, I want to be outside, not on a fucking video game that I do inside.
I'm with
And
you.
like and then I buy a Switch Lite for my children because I ain't spending fucking OLED money on my kids. Fuck
But they're
that.
not building. They're building a portable system, so
Oh
all
no.
the guts are portable based parts. They're all
Yeah.
mobile
I,
parts. So at that point,
mhm.
you don't want a phone that has if the iPhone 20 comes out, you don't want it to have an inferior screen to the last iPhone.
Of
You don't.
course.
That's
No,
the
and
world we're in.
once again, like Jonesy says, the advantage that you can take it with you on a plane when traveling. Yeah, it's an advantage that you have a very nice OLED screen and that you can play it while you take a shit. That's an advantage. But is that actually what consumers are doing with it? And I don't think that is the case.
Well, none
And
of us have the actual
and
data.
so like I would say like if they wanted to, what they really should do is make a version that's really good for the TV at home and doesn't do that, and then just make the Switch Lite. Because yeah, I'm not interested in going and buying an OLED screen from Nintendo. I don't want to do that. In fact, I don't, and I actually also don't want to play it as a handheld device at all. Like that's not my, you know what I mean? That's not and that's not how nobody wants to play Legend of Zelda and the new Mario game on a fucking handheld small screen. Nobody would rather do that. Everybody wants
I
to play
don't
on
know,
their
man.
fucking
I do play
60-inch TV,
I
you know?
stream my PS5, on Xbox to my Logitech G Cloud, so I can play in
Mhm.
bed with the dog and wife. Like as much as I play the Fortnite on the big screen, but if I want
Yeah.
to spend time with my dogs and my wife, like just being there versus being up in my room, then I
Mhm.
stream it to that little device, which doesn't have an OLED, but it's very comparable. I've put them side by side. The screen's
Yeah.
very comparable. So the Switch
Oh,
2 could have something that's very comparable. You know what I mean?
mhm.
None of us have seen the hardware. All that being said, it's just funny when they make a big deal about OLED and then the next system, like, nope, it's cut. Like it's just one of those weird things. It'd be like calling it the Switch 3D, and then the next one is like, yeah, it's all the same games, but no, I don't know. It's just weird to me.
Yeah.
But that's the world we live in, dude. At the end of the day, folks, like a dog shit system to me would be like if it was all free to play model games, live service games, you know what I mean? The hardware, like that kind of thing. Cloud
Mhm.
streaming games only. But Nintendo doesn't, even the Wii U, although clunky, right? Clunky, not an elegant system by any means, was not a
Yeah.
dipshit. It was a good system. It just there was no support for it or consumer interest. And I mean, that was evident even at E3. Rarely had I ever been to E3, Jason, when I'd see people just not give a shit about something as much. They
Yeah.
were lined up for the Vita more than they were for the Wii U.
Right.
Like it's
Yeah.
crazy.
Aria just sent me the new Steam Deck stuff. The guy named Jeff Knightley tweeted it
But
out, and it
it's
says HDR.
$800.
Hold on, it's HDR OLED display, 30 to 50% longer battery life, faster downloads with Wi-Fi 6E, improved thermals, and 5% lighter than the Steam Deck LCD model. Steam Deck 512 OLED 549. Steam Deck 1 terabyte OLED 649. So that's
So
about what no, but that's the 1 terabyte. And so I
$549.
own
Still
the
more than a
last
PS5.
I own the last Steam Deck, and they told me it was going to allow PC VR and it was going to be able to do it, and it didn't. It was so they could fucking also eat my ass. I'm never gonna buy another one from them. Fuck them. You know what I mean? Because like my son likes VR a lot, and that's why I got it. They were saying that they were putting that in the advertisements and stuff. They were doing that in the talks, and then it couldn't do any PC VR whatsoever. It was just like it was ridiculous. So, but maybe that one will. I don't know. Who fucking cares? As far as I'm concerned,
it's still $550.
Yeah,
and it's like if Nintendo put out a fucking handheld for $550, people would revolt. They'd riot more than they would for Drag Queen story time, Jason. You know what I mean? Like they would literally riot in the streets. This is ridiculous. Nintendo, blah, 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 blah. So like we just live in a weird world where like if a game console costs $499, it's too expensive. But if a Steam Deck that allows you to pirate whatever you want, and let's be honest, that's what they're doing. You know, they're primarily pirating games on that thing. And in OLED, then it can cost whatever you want. It could be $100. I'm all for it. So this is the kind of consumernomics, right? If that's a word, I don't know if that is, but I just made that one up on my
consumer
own.
habits. I don't know. Yeah,
I don't. It's consumernomics. I don't understand, like the happiness ratio to fam. Blah, blah. So
like
the G-Cloud thing is simple. It just links up to my Xbox and streams it. There's nothing in it. You know what I mean? It just streams.
Well, like my whole take on the whole like handheld thing with Nintendo is that they know grown-ups are only going to buy the console, and they've just fucking found a way to trick it into us having to fucking subsidize the Game Boy and the Nintendo. And I'm basically and then but my Nintendo's worse for it. And that's what sucks.
The problem with the dock version is they run in poorer performance. There's no real, like, you get a higher resolution, but it'll run in poorer frame rate. You'll get stuttered. It's like, what are you supposed to do at that point? You know?
Yeah, I don't like it. I mean, but the rumors about the new consoles, so the new Switch, are sounding like more like it's going to be comparable to the Xbox X. That's what they're saying. Then by the time it comes out, Xbox X will already have been out for like 2 or 3 years. 3 years, I think. So it's not that crazy, but we have hit a point where like that's probably going to be pretty good for Nintendo, especially. Jonesy says Wii U was great for friends nights. Nintendo struggles with the fact that they always have a cartoon graphics element and always beaten by Sony and Microsoft for other games like Call of Duty and GTA, etc. Well, I think that it like Nintendo, I mean, sells the console, they own the hardware, and then they also own the main IP from Zelda and Mario, for instance, and Mario Kart and stuff like that. So I don't think Nintendo's necessarily as competitive with the other people outright as they are. But they're hitting a point now, I think, where the graphics are going to allow you to play Grand Theft Auto. Like Grand Theft Auto theoretically will be able to play on the next Switch. So that's the first time they're going to be able to actually, like, for in a long time, be at least like competitive. Because like with my kids, it was if my kids wanted to play Grand Theft Auto, they had to have an Xbox or a PlayStation or a computer. And they weren't going to be doing on Nintendo.
Here's the thing, Jason. With Nintendo, they have Nintendo. There's Nintendo acolytes. There's millions more Nintendo fans than there are people who play Call of Duty. That's just the way it is.
Yeah.
The question is whether you can activate them to buy the hardware. The Wii U was the same. It was the console version of the original fat DS. Remember they put out the DS and it was this big clunky,
I loved it,
giant thing.
Yeah.
I imported the Japanese black version. Okay, but it was a clunky system.
Rob can't be a racist. His DS is black.
Don't do that, Jason.
Come on, that's making fun of things that people say. Everybody knows that. It's called a joke.
I know. Don't let me.
Actually, you can. There was like a rapper, and he had a lyric, and it was like, "I can't be homophobic because my bitch is gay." I was like, okay, yeah, that's the world we live in. But
so, throw me off. You're trying to derail this argument, but it was a clunky system, and they revised it right with the DS Lite, made it slim, right? Gave it that. It just looked the form factor. It was the same hardware, same games, But the form factor, Jason, the price came down a little bit, but the form factor is what got all my friends, man, who were normal folks, hadn't bought a system since maybe the 64, bought a fucking DS Lite. DS
Yeah.
Lite, DS Lite, DS Lite, DS Lite. So the Wii U had an interesting concept. You could play it on your screen. You could play on your TV. It was a console that you could stream to the screen. And I streamed to the screen all the time at that point because I was trying to spend time, with the dogs in bed before I go to sleep for like a half hour, play a game. But it was a clunky system. The base unit was super long. It looked like it looked like a bad thumb drive blown up. You know what I mean? Like it looked really, and the controller felt like cheap Fisher Price stuff. It just felt wrong. It just had the wrong thing. They revised that into a Switch with the form factor was right.
And
Essentially the same
Switch
hardware.
has outsold the Wii, surprisingly.
Yes, and essentially the same hardware though, Jason, just a mobile version of that hardware.
Yeah.
And it worked. So like again, with Nintendo, the form factors of as much as the cartridges were an issue with the 64, half the people couldn't get their head around that controller, even though I love it. They couldn't. They look at it and go, looks weird, looks like a banana. Like
yeah.
Consumers are finicky like that. How many times have you been offered, I want to get that phone or that Walkman? You're like, that looks dumb. Like people are so picky like that. So hard to say.
Yeah, Aria says, I would rather buy the Steam Deck simply because it's an actual PC. People can do everything on it, and it has every game compared to Nintendo. But yeah, that's
every game. It has a lot of illegal games. Like let's be honest.
Yeah, you won't be able to bootleg the next Nintendo on the Steam Deck for some time, you would think.
I'm all for emulation, keeping game preservation. The problem is a lot of these systems are being used to just steal modern games. And as a game developer and as an artist, I just don't agree with that stance.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I mean they're like that. There is a point realistically where somebody was never actually going to have the money to buy all those games, or they weren't going to buy those games, so no one actually lost anything. But then on the other hand, they definitely probably and they do have the money, don't buy the game because they already played it for free or won't. So there is
we all have to make our decisions. I'm not shaming you, Aria, but that is a real fact. Type in the Kingdom Steam Deck in the YouTube and you'll see the
answers. But Aria hasn't given any sign that she's bootlegging anything. You know what I mean? She just likes
I'm not blaming her. I'm saying it's largely used for that, So
yeah.
But that being said,
the Steam Deck is clunky as fuck though. It was big in my hands. I did not like it. My son, who I got it for, was jazzed about it. And then and he was like watching YouTube on it for like the first days he got it for Christmas or something. And then in the following days, I started seeing him going back to the Switch.
Well, here's a problem with them. I know this is a conversation. We got to go, but I want to end on this. Like, I love the 3DS, the new 3DS Lite XL specifically. The size of the screen and the eye tracking 3D. The 3D matters for me. Love it. Mario 3D Land, my favorite Mario game of all time. Beat Mario 64 because of the 3D. It's so good. I get those flutters when I jump off a mountain or a cliff or something, right? And I shouldn't, but I do. That's how you know it's working. How are you supposed to keep that going when all the hardware dies? I bought 2 3DSs during COVID, before it was done, because I knew, like the hardware would die one day. So I statistically speaking, it's the third time I've used that today. These should last until I die. But what if they don't? You know what I mean? How are you supposed to preserve the 3D aspect? It's gone forever. So like game preservation is a real issue, especially when you get these like Metal Gear Solid, ports that don't have the actual lighting, the post-processing that the PS2 can do. So I'm all for things that can handle all that. The line I draw at when it's taking, real money out of developers' pockets and publishers' pockets. And then you're like, well, why does the publisher, they should be making new games? No, they're making live service games because making new games get stolen, but they're just going to make these stream games that sell you essentially skins because you can't steal like that. It's a real problem. So I get super excited when Nintendo, sells 19 million copies of Tears of the Kingdom, because that shows me that, look, man, there's still a market for this stuff, like and emulation aside, illegal emulation aside, people are still willing to buy it, right? If it's a great game. So like putting the effort in makes a difference, and And I just wish that whoever's in charge of the Zelda and Mario was in charge of Pokemon, because there's way too many of those shitty games. That's a side topic, but the difference in quality between the Pokemon games and the mainline Nintendo stuff, right? Like,
yeah,
whatever.
Yeah, well, maybe that new one you can play Fortnite on it. I don't know. You want to join us? You're welcome. Yeah, I will always buy a Nintendo if there's a Zelda and a Mario game that's going to be on that generation's console, and there always will be. I would think, and then
they got us for life, right, Jason?
Probably, yeah. Unless like when Miyamoto passes away, and then we have like new generation Nintendo, they might lose what made it special.
But Miyamoto isn't making these games now.
I know. But he's still there though. He's still there. Correct. That's the whole thing.
But he's making shitty Star Fox sequels, remakes. Like Star Fox Zero was a Miyamoto project, and that is not a good game. Like, that is a VR game without a VR headset. Try it sometime. Like, it really is. It's the weirdest thing I've ever played, like, from Nintendo, short of Wii Music, which was also Miyamoto. So I like the dude, but game design wise, he may have hit his peak.
He's 70 years old. I mean, you peaked at 70. Chances are. Oh, okay. But
stop reminding me how old he is.
Yeah. Well, no, that's why I was laughing yesterday. I'm like, what's his name? Avi Arad, and him are like in their 70s. It's like, what the fuck, guys? Like, retire, But
well, look, man, I don't even know if that's the case, because then you get these Wall Street tech bros coming in, and what do they know too? So, it's not an age issue. It's just like, are you at that level or are you not? I think Miyazaki is still firing all cylinders, and he's in his 80s, like, so it does happen, but it's rare, let's be honest.
Yeah. And Japanese people are like from like a different culture than us, different values and stuff like that. And you can look at like Akira Kurosawa. He was still fucking cooking, late in life. So
he was in his 50s when he made Seven Samurai, dude.
Yeah. So it's when it comes to like the artistic stuff, sometimes you become a master, or you are a master later, and when you're doing stuff, it's fantastic and it's good,
So you're saying this show's gonna get real good 20 years from now, right? Like,
it's going to be cooking. It's going to be
for
really
now.
good.
We're our it's not so good right now.
Yeah, but I mean, if I could, because like my thing is like with 4K TVs being what they're at, yes, the graphics can still get better. Ray tracing, it's on, and all that bullshit that people get all like bent out of shape about. It's like, but not everybody actually appreciates things at such a deep level. So once Nintendo is operating at like, very moderate like graphics capabilities on 4K televisions, I think that's going to be really fine for Nintendo.
But see, that's where AI really is helpful. AI, DLSS, upscaling is the only responsible way to deal with that, because having developers conjure up 8K textures is absolutely disgustingly ridiculous. Like it's just not good. It's not good for power, for production, for any. It makes no sense. You just don't want. It's not. That's where AI helps. So I like the idea that theoretically you can make a game at PS4 scale, right? But DLSS can give you, all the other bells and whistles that when it does things in post-processing. Essentially, it's a post-processing effect at the end of the day,
but it doesn't have blast processing, does it?
Steam Deck does, though, but it's going to set you back $550. And a Mega Drive, you could just, it was $199, Jason, with Sonic. So
I know, like we saw George Lucas in his last public appearance, and he basically couldn't walk. Let's go make him fucking make the Mandalorian season 5. Fucking, these people are crazy. They need to put the Pokemon cards down, I think, and pay attention to reality. Stop taking the Steam Deck outside. Sorry, Ari, I'm picking on you.
It's a good place to stop the show, Jason. I think we.
You know what? No, fuck you, Aria. I'm gonna fight you. I'm gonna find you, Aria. I'm gonna fucking fight you. I'm kidding. We all love Aria. All right, everybody. We'll probably be back tomorrow. Especially if there's any news breaks, anybody else plagiarizes Bespin Bulletin, I'll be here to report on it.
Yeah, you goddamn straight.
Yeah, get up.
It's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.
Hey, it's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.
Hey, it's the end of the show.
Come on, let's go.
Hey, you know you should
Go.
Come on, let's go.
It's not about spaceships.